Or at one point with one of the operations, I had to take... Sorry, you can't even say the sentence without thinking, holy crap. I had to take the lower part of the spinal cord out of a child. Oh. And I didn't want to, so I stabbed the anesthesiologist. Oh. And that wasn't also like a quick thing. It was animated. It was like, whoa, okay, calm down. Oh, and then I got shot by the guards and stuff like that.
Shit.
This game is dark.
Okay, 13-year-olds should not be playing this.
Really shouldn't. Like,
wow.
I was shocked.
Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of everyone's favorite podcast, the Critical Arcade Podcast. I'm your co-host, Nick.
And I'm Dave.
Hello, Dave.
Nick, you well?
I am cold.
It's another thing we said. It's like, we're in South Africa. We're in the African continent, and we're freezing our balls off.
You'd think it'd be warm here.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. No, it's really cold. It's like
lo and behold,
snow.
Yeah, we get winter too.
We do. We actually... Never at Christmas, sadly. Like, no Christmas snow. But yeah, it's snowy up in parts of South Africa today.
Yeah. We get winter the other half of the year.
Yes.
July. Which,
yeah, we have roasting hot Christmases, which is insane to me still. Sorry, continue.
I can imagine. I mean, it's this entire southern hemisphere that gets this.
Yes, that's very true, yes.
Although it feels like 90% of the world doesn't get it. December's always cold. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's still very strange, you know, chestnuts roasting on an open fire and Jack Frost and all the other things, but here it's like 35 degrees and you're sweating and you're sitting outside just trying to get cool, and then you also have to unwrap presents. It's just something weird because I came from England and Christmas was always cold, like super cold.
Yes.
It's still that you just don't get the same cozy vibes when it's summer. I don't know. It just isn't.
The majority of our audience is based in the US, so they all kind of get that white Christmas cozy.
Yeah,
it's cold, so you need to bundle up at the fire.
Yeah, super lucky. It's like the poetic type Christmas, the one that everybody wants, the cozy. Warm,
exactly.
Drinking too much, arguing with your relatives, you know, the Christmas we all enjoy.
Yes.
But apart from the cold, you're well then. You know, like
apart from the cold, I'm well. Apart from being slightly stuffy, I'm also well.
Very good.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
Should we dive in then?
Let's do this. This week's game, ladies and gents, if you've read the title, you've probably seen the thumbnail. We've been getting a lot of traction on YouTube. This week's game is it's an odd one.
Odd is the perfect name for this one.
Definitely.
Go on, sorry.
I was just going to say thank you, list. Thank you, almighty list. All hail the list.
Don't thank the list.
What do you mean? Of course I'm going to thank the list. No, it's going to give us more.
No, but okay, ladies and gents, let me just qualify this a little bit. The game we're playing is I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
Correct.
Now, this was released in 1995.
Also correct.
Freaking almost 30 years ago, which is just scary.
Insane.
It was also released on Halloween, I might add. This was released on the 31st of October. Yeah, it was.
I didn't know that.
This is why the list worries me. This game is about a super AI that destroys humanity and tortures. Now, we've talked about this list kind of becoming sentient and it's getting a world of its own.
What are you doing? Becoming sentient? The list is already sentient. This is a message.
And it sends this. The next game
it's a message.
We'll be playing as like a Space Odyssey or Terminator or something, or, you know, just to point out that it's planning things. So yeah, the list has started to get me a bit stressed out because this was just too on the nose. The list is listening. The list has some sort of power.
Absolutely. Ladies and gents, I realize it's been a while since I've explained what the list is.
That's true.
We've actually gotten a ton of new listeners. The list is a massive list of games that Dave and I made before we started this podcast. It is about 3,000 video games from all over time and space to time and space. And that is going to be the list of episodes that we review. It's all hidden, and the list randomly spits out a video game for us to review each week.
Yeah, and strangely enough, far too many Digimon games. Don't know why.
Why so many? I think we've gotten 3 or 4 by now.
Yeah, Digimon. It's just crazy amount of Digimon games.
I don't get it.
So yeah, that's the list. We are all we're entirely at its control. We only review the games it tells us to, with the occasional sputtering of a new release here and there. But yeah, this is why we're scared of the list. It's sending us games almost like a foreshadowing.
Exactly.
Of what it's
and it
doing
is
next.
also why I am thanking the list and
Yes,
proclaiming
all
hail the list.
All hail the list. No, definitely all hail the list. Anyway, back to the game. I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. It was developed by a company called Cyber Dreams.
Of course it is.
I know, right? And Dreamers, the Dreamers Guild, which is... I looked these companies up. They made another horror point-and-click. A H.R. Geiger. Do you know... I'm going to say his name wrong.
Yes, I do. H.R. Yes.
It's the Aliens kind of art director.
Yes.
He did a game called Dark Seed.
I mean, didn't they make another game, Scorn?
Yes,
a couple
that
of years
new one,
ago,
that weird,
with his art
right,
style in mind? Yes,
that's right. They did a game called Dark Seed back in 1990 something. And Dreamers Guild, the only game I even recognised was the PGA Golf Tour for the DOS box years and years ago,
golf.
which is a classic. Yeah.
Yes. The gentleman's game.
But this game it's got one of these. It's one of these games that's actually got a big following, but very niche, because this game actually, I know I've mentioned it before, there's a company called Limited Run, which takes indie games or old games and produces physical versions of them again for people to collect. They actually took this game and made a collector's edition for like $500.
Whoa.
And it's a statue, it's a face mask with
I need to Google this.
It's crazy. I was so shocked. And it's one of those ones where you think it has to have quite a following to Limited Run to actually make money from doing this. They have to have like research, not going to just waste their money in making a game. But it's actually really cool collector's edition if you love this game. But
wow,
it's expensive, right? It's like I know it's sold out and it's on eBay for like $400 or $500. So this does have a following.
It included a face mask.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
That's cool, isn't it? And a little statue and a poster and a mouse mat.
I like this. Excuse me.
But it's written. The story was written by a gentleman named Harlan Ellison.
I got that as well in 1966.
Yeah, and he was actually, you may know him, he's actually a very prolific writer back in the day. He won multiple Hugo's, Nebula Awards, and the Edgar Awards for some of his books he wrote. He even wrote one of the most popular episodes of the 1967 version of Star Trek, with Captain Kirk and Spock and all those. He actually wrote an episode that they play out called The City on the Edge of Forever, which is pretty known as one of the best Star Trek episodes because of...
All right,
Star Trek
this is
in the day really hit some
so
issues. Yeah.
Harlan Ellison is a prolific sci-fi writer.
Yes, famous so, yeah.
And this could be his most well-known work.
You have to be a bit careful because he hated the term science fiction writer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, you should read... I go into subcontext, but he doesn't seem like a nice person in any regards. No! I think I can't remember, but there was a quote from him somewhere. It said something like, "If you call me a sci-fi writer, I'll go to your house and kill your pets," or something.
What's going? No,
Seriously,
you can't say
really,
that, Harlan. You can't say that.
Along those lines, it was really like he liked the smell of his own farts, if you know what I mean.
Oh, he sounds like a dick.
No, he really is. And I have to admit that has slightly garnished my review of this game because he sounds intolerable.
I am going to call him a sci-fi writer. What a POS.
I think he's potentially either very old or dead now. So yeah, go ahead. I don't think he's going to have much repercussions.
Jeez, I had a note about him underneath audio, which I'm sure you do as well.
Yes, of course.
Come on. No, Harlan.
And the name, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, is literally given to you from what actually happens with most of the endings in this game and in the book.
Yeah, I got that as well.
Yeah, you turn into a soft jelly with no mouth that can't affect anything, and
I think he calls it a soft jelly thing.
Jelly thing that works very much like the blob. I can only imagine.
Yes,
but because you're just stuck in that form, you can't do anything, and thus the internal torment.
Not just that, but you're joined with
Yes, exactly. Another weird thing, I was going into it, and this is not really about the game, but society today, I suppose. When it released in 1995, it was adult rated, as in 18 and above were only allowed to play this game. It is now released on, like, I think it's like on the phones and other things and good old games and stuff. It's teen. It's now slapped with it's allowed for teenagers.
Yeah.
And I'm playing this game, I think to myself, damn. Standards have kind of gone wild, because this game hits some pretty risky type of subject matters and concepts.
But that's just it, though. You're absolutely right. Society's gone in an entirely different direction.
Really has.
I think in 1995, concepts could have been. I don't want to say damaging, but yes, there were adult-rated concepts. Now, I think teens don't think when they play a game, right?
Well,
they just want to shoot some Nazis.
I think I get what you mean, and with the likes like Fortnite out there and all the.
It's just gonna go above their heads.
Yeah, they're people. But I was like playing this game. We can jump into narrative a little bit here.
Yeah,
like you said, it's all about a super powerful AI computer called who's wiped out humanity except for 5 people who he's kept alive and tortured for 109 years.
Incredible.
By making them relive scenarios and adventures based on their own character flaws. You
know what? Yeah. It's creative.
It's super creative, but it deals with insanity, sexual assault, paranoia, genocide, Auschwitz.
Yes,
these are some hardcore, very dark areas of like.
These are hard-hitting sections, and to add them all into a single game, and not, I wouldn't say make fun of them or add them in lightly, but
no,
geez, this is some hard-hitting stuff. These are one of the games that a lot of people would bring up in conversation when someone's aunt says, "Oh, games are for children."
Oh yes, no, this is a counter to that
kids.
entirely. Yeah, this is a counter entirely to it.
Yeah, but it's so GD niche.
Yes, very much so.
A lot of people don't even know about it, and when you tell them of this game, it's kind of just, oh well, some old fart must have made this in his garage because it looks like it does.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to get away from that aspect, are you? In a game like this, even if it does the context and the content it's bringing forward is really interesting. It's like really I said, and did you know that in this game there are 7 different endings, and there are originally 6 endings, and all of them were bad, and the game developer had to tell what was it, Harlan, or what his name was, you have to put in a good ending. No one wants to play a game where all the endings are bad. That means you didn't like win. You play games to kind of win at it. So they put in one good ending you could
win
achieve,
state.
Which was super hard to achieve, by the way. Like it's especially for the games from 1995, they're hard just to get past a level, let alone complete. So they actually had to add one good ending just so people could chase the good feel at the end of the game.
Yeah, so Harlan wasn't done being an arsehole in the 60s, he had to be an arsehole in the 90s as well.
Yeah, right? He does sound insufferable, and I didn't want to make this like super negative, but he really, if you look up his personality, it's not great. It's not someone to look up to. He writes good stuff. He really does.
Don't say he's a sci-fi writer, but he's absolutely a sci-fi writer.
Yeah, he really is. No,
he's anti-Semitic.
Yes.
Yes, of course he is.
He's sexist. He's racist.
Racist, of course.
He's all of the usts, the bad usts.
Where's he from? Is he from the US?
Ooh, I didn't actually look into that. You're right.
What's his nationality?
That's a good question. He looked kind of European to me, but that's just me completely pulling that out my ass.
Oh, it probably doesn't even matter.
But ladies and gentlemen, let me just give you a brief rundown. You get 6 characters which I've only written down 5, which is a bit annoying because now I can't remember. You get the name's great, Gorrister.
Gorrister.
His little thing is he's suicidal for having had his wife committed to an insane asylum, so you get to play out his story. You have Benny, a military officer who killed his trainees for not meeting his standards in regards to training. You have Ellen, an engineer like prodigy, who's got the phobia or chromophobia, because I looked that up because I wanted to, of the color yellow, because she was sexually assaulted by somebody who wore yellow in a lift years ago.
But I mean, she was locked in a lift and repeatedly raped in this.
Yeah, it's crazy. You got Nimdok. Nimdok, he was an ex-Nazi doctor who did horrible medical experiments on kids and people to help progress Nazi agenda. And you have Ted, a con artist who became so paranoid with being a con artist and ruining people's lives and stealing and thrifting them that he thought everybody was out to kill him or hurt him or hate him or manipulate him in some way. I can't remember. Was there 5 people or 6 people? Am I just thinking there was 5? 6 people?
There were 5. Okay. I think the 6th might be
Okay, and those are just like the little bits, the subheadings of what goes on. The story matter of each person is so adult and so.
It really is. But even just listening to those headings, I'm thinking, maybe teens shouldn't be playing.
I know. I was thinking that entirely. I was thinking I don't know. What is teen qualified as now? Because 13, in my mind,
14.
13, right? Because the first time you turn into 18 is 13. I would not give a 13-year-old this game.
No. I guess 17, 18, you'd be
right?
closer to understanding or being able to deal with these concepts. But a 13-year-old, I don't think so. I don't think so.
This game was just insane. I'd say I completed. I didn't complete because these games are notoriously hard to complete.
Yes,
so frustrating. I'll get to that later.
The gameplay is a bit boring.
I was playing this, and it's defined as a point-and-click adventure. The more I played it, I think today with how games have evolved, I'd actually say this is more kind of a visual novel now, because it was originally scripted from a book. It was a book he wrote years ago,
and it's a short story.
Yes, it was a short story. Sorry, it was a book of short stories. I loved the awards back in the day because it won the award for a written
best
media
sci-fi writer.
Yeah, that would be great. But it got an award for best media that's been origin was written and converted into digital. It was such a random award to say that this was contested a lot. It won awards. I get why it won awards. The game won some very strange
What do you mean? The short story or the game? Or both?
The game itself, because it was like I can't even think of anything as like adult as this game. Like I don't mean like Leisure Suit Larry and stuff like that. The concepts. I cannot think of a game in the 90s.
I don't think I can. From the 90s? I don't think
it's Mario. It's Sonic. I don't know if he was out when he came out. It's Asteroids and all the other fun, Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, all those games. That was what
you had Final Fantasy 7, Metal Gear Solid,
Metal Gear Solid,
Zelda Ocarina of Time, Final Fantasy 6.
Maybe I'm wrong. Sorry, in my mind, 1995 is so far back that it was like arcade era, but I'm completely wrong. Those are big games. Those
are big games, and sure they've got some concepts. Teen concepts maybe like whatever, but this
not like
this is not like this game at all.
Yeah, I'm still stunned. The material on this, it is interesting in its own right because these people do, the narrative of the story in this game is they go through trials and overcome these things, their phobias, their assaults, their consciences and stuff like that. There is an overcoming of it.
I played Ellen's chapter?
Yes, yeah.
And in a certain point you climb into a sarcophagus, and once you're inside the sarcophagus, it turns into the elevator where she got sexually assaulted.
That was dark. Correct, yeah. And you kind of relive the moment, right?
Exactly, but after some time, you kind of need to overcome, and she does.
Yes,
And then she gets out on the other side of the elevator to meet part of AM's mind that he didn't think was there. Meaning, Am didn't think she would overcome the elevator.
Correct. Yes. Am or AM or whatever doesn't have high regards in humanity. They think he doesn't think this, but it's his own weakness, for lack of a better term, because he doesn't expect them to do it, and then as humans you do achieve it, or you try to in this game, and then his own weakness weirdly is kind of almost a human one in regards to underestimating capabilities, which is...
He is completely underestimating all of these characters, and with all 5 of them kind of overcoming, as you mentioned earlier, it does eventually lead to, if you made the right choices, the downfall of Am and the recolonization of Earth by the human race.
Yes, correct. In the Lost Tribe or whatever. Yes, correct. If you choose the correct ones.
Choose, because I mean, even before the game starts, they kind of say Am is what was it? The Allied master computer. What did they call it?
Yes, it was. It was something like that because the original computers originally were Russian and Chinese.
Yes,
and he overthrew them and used their processing power and stuff like that.
No, I think he was the first of the 3 master computers that...
Oh, was he? The first one?
Became sentient.
Yeah.
And absorbed the Chinese and Russian master computers.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
It's absolutely insane how what Harlan Ellison, a well-known sci-fi writer, wrote. I mean, throughout all these subterranean caves on the entirety of planet Earth, they built the supercomputers.
Well, you've got exactly.
It's such an insane thought. It really is cool.
And I must admit, by all accounts, he's not like I said, he's not a role model. But I also looked up to see. I played the majority of Nimdok's one just randomly, which was he was the Nazi doctor.
Yes.
And the characters in it are real. You worked under a Dr. Mengele, I don't know, who was a known Nazi doctor that did those nasty experiments in history on people. The things they put in this, and he does research, are actually real concepts. In that one, by all accounts, you have to reawaken a golem made of clay to help right your wrongs. And in Jewish folklore, there are a kind of golems made of clay that were supposed to help protect the Jewish from incarceration and stuff like that. So everything in these stories that sound bizarre and insane and stuff like that, it's all actually underlined by real kind of historic stuff, beliefs. Even the one you played with Ellen, where it's got all the hieroglyphics and the pharaohs and
it's got Anubis.
Yeah, exactly. That's the guy I was trying to think of.
Who's a real Egyptian god.
Yeah, so it's all layered in factual stuff as well, which just makes it. Again, I don't like giving him credit, but as a book and as a game and as a narrative, makes it so much more real and interesting to actually play through. Which it's hard to do by all accounts. I can see why these books were translated, because it's an interesting, just cacophony of ideas and history and overcoming. But the guy who wrote it was an asshole.
He was a dick. But I mean, not just getting all these ideas at this one same spot, but kind of morphing them into one big, quote unquote, game for these last 5 individuals. Meaning, these were leftovers of the human race's beliefs and religions, and his kind of twisting them and morphing them into his own little game.
Yeah.
To look like this kind of, we mentioned this earlier, this game also takes big inspiration from H.R. Giger, or Geiger.
Definitely.
To have all of these different religions and beliefs kind of look like that.
Yes, agreed.
There's a lot of thought put into this.
Yes, that's the only, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, this is, I'm sure Nick is in agreement, this is fundamentally the best part of the game. The stories and the narrative and kind of what he's trying to explain. It's a little dated if you see the way it's written and some of the colloquial terms used in it and stuff is very 1990s, especially Ellen, like her use of the terms baby and stuff like that all the time was just, it's very old school and kind of dated now. But yeah, the writing and the stories and the concepts is the big plus in this game. They are actually, they're dark and they are adult. I wouldn't put teens on it. But they're an interesting look at stuff that you don't really get in gaming media much.
Very, very true. I think these days, a game that would be pushing concept boundaries would be something like Celeste, that is an important game that talks about mental health. I'm not slamming that. And
Braid.
What?
Braze. It's another little platforming game where it was all about perspective. I don't want to spoil it, but you think you're saving the princess.
Oh.
But prospectively later on, you realize that's not actually the case. Just because the narrative goes that way, it doesn't mean... Basically, get both sides of the story before you make a judgment. Braid does that quite well.
Okay.
And you were saying another one?
Another one would be Life is Strange.
Oh, geez.
Another one that kind of thinks
you said Life is Strange. My mind went immediately High on Life. And I was thinking... Why the hell would he bring... Yeah, the talking gun. I'm thinking, that's a weird
what's it,
choice.
Justin Roiland?
Yeah, I was thinking, that's an interesting choice. I guess there is that bit where you have to shoot the child.
He must have a point.
This is out there. I was waiting for it. But no, I get what you mean, though. Life is Strange, completely different.
Life is Strange.
Yeah, it's true.
But then again, compared to the concepts and ideas in this game, those are all quite...
Tame.
Muted
tame.
even.
They really are,
Right? It's like they want to talk about real subjects, but not too
Not this real.
Not this real. No,
this is super real.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good in that way. Anything else narratively you want to hit us with?
I think there's so much that you can talk about the narrative for this game. What happened before, what happened after, what all of these things could mean. The dialogue in the game, I kind of thought was very... I don't know, I thought the dialogue was written very 90s point and click.
Yeah, it really is. No, it is very 90s,
It takes a bit getting used to. But no, the narrative is such a big part of this game. I could kind of go on for hours.
Yeah. Okay, so visually, what did you like or dislike?
Visuals, I think, I mentioned this earlier. They take ideas and concepts from the human race, beliefs and religions, and twists them inside the games for Benny, Ted, Gorrister, Nimdok, Ellen, to kind of look dysmorphed, right?
Oh,
they
entirely,
take a pyramid, which I mean, in the human race's past, the pyramids in Egypt was a massive event in history, but this one's made out of just electrical components and electricity
and of course yellow, just to mess with Ellen. Everything is in yellow.
Of course it's yellow.
Yeah, it's go on.
Even with secret corridors and all, with the Sphinx, with Anubis, with a sarcophagus that Am thinks Ellen goes into emotionally die again.
Yeah, that's right.
There's so much that goes into this, into the, the visuals. There's a lot. Just even Nimdok's campaign, the entire thing is set in Auschwitz.
Yes, correct. Right? Yeah, you're at one of the camps. Yeah, no doubt.
It wouldn't hit the same if it didn't actually look like Auschwitz.
No, it's one of those. I agree, and I get it, because I wrote that's the same thing down fundamentally myself. I get that. It's one of those sad things because today it doesn't age well. There's no one's picking this game up because visually it's good. Now, granted, I think we're almost both of the age where we grew up with these. Be Monkey Island, be it Under Steel Sky. So there's a nostalgia to this type of graphics, but there's also something really, like you said, there's something gritty about it. The graphics are actually done really well. Like you said, we're in the Auschwitz camp. We're surrounded by gates and there's prisoners. And then you go into a room and you're starting to do an operation and there's just a gallery of people above you, just watching what you're doing. In like, it just shows like the humanity's greed. There's something very subtle to the artwork, which is actually done very well. It looks very old and very like pixelated and weirdly rendered and all these other things that people probably don't appreciate much anymore. But each area and each story had a very gritty aspect to it. Doesn't matter which one you went to. Everything about it was dark. You knew the subject matter was dark, and the areas you went to had no degree of like light at the end of the tunnel or something great's going to happen. It is actually all very well done. But
Agreed.
It has not aged well. It really hasn't.
Unfortunately not. There's this aesthetic making a comeback, the pixel art aesthetic, right?
Yeah.
We've got 2D HD remakes for the Dragon Quest games.
Yeah,
We've got Octopath Traveler.
No doubt.
Even just a lot of artwork like to use the pixel art aesthetic.
Oh yes, of course, yeah. I love
this. Was when that was still the only aesthetic we had.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. This was I'm trying to think. I think this was just about on CD. I think this did come out on a CD, a compact disc.
Really? Okay.
But it must have been close to floppy disks. I don't know because I'm trying to think.
I do not know.
I had TIE Fighter on floppy disk. I had Monkey Island on floppy disk. So
really?
yeah, it had to be. I had the original Monkey Island on a floppy disk. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah. Sorry, it's just nostalgia kicking in there.
That's cool.
So
That's
yeah,
cool.
this
What?
was
The Secret of Monkey Island?
Yes, the very first one. I had The Secret of Monkey Island. I had, strangely enough, I had Lounge Suite Larry or Leisure Suit Larry, depending on which one you get, the European or English one. I had TIE Fighter and the Ultima game on disc as well. Do you know the Ultima
You just had
game?
this collection of floppies.
Yeah,
with all these games.
Literally, I don't know if you're old enough for this, but I literally had one of those long cases with the flip-up lid with all the floppies, kind of like a...
Oh, hell yeah!
What's that thing you have in offices with all the business cards in? I'm sure it doesn't exist anymore, like a telefax thing. You used to flip through the top of the floppy disks, like one at a time, to look for the one you were looking for.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry, just the nostalgia of that. And they were lockable. The lid was lockable, like these were super expensive and needed to be kept safety, and you locked, sorry, just a weird nostalgia kick, but I loved, floppy disks were great. You had to take 20, 30 minutes to install a game. You had to put them in and out and wiggle them. Oh, it was a great time. Anyway, the video, like you said, the graphics of this are dated. They kind of work for me. I'm sure they don't work for everyone, though.
No, I would agree. But I mean, you're born in the 80s. This is a massive nostalgia bomb for you.
It really is. Yeah, it really is. And like I said, it's hard to really describe how well they portray the adult matter too. Like in the Auschwitz one, there's a room in the back where people are missing legs, they're missing eyes. Hell, there's a guy, one of the operations you do is a guy who's got his eyes in a jar and they've connected it to cables to his head.
Ooh.
And he just wants you to kill him, understandably so.
Of course.
But it like to have these basic palettes of color and just to have the limitations they had, every one of these places was in its own right scary. They were not. Oh, granted, we all know the Auschwitz camps would be scary, but the pyramids, the army barracks, the weird kind of like back in time aspect of I forget which one he was everything about it's very dark with a very simplistic color, and I kind of like it. But most people probably wouldn't. It would just be
I agree. I think there's a very, very small amount of people who would like this.
Yes, agreed. Sadly, today I agree entirely. Yeah, it's so not like you said. It's not as cute as Celeste and Super Meat Boy and all those other things which are so brightly colored and so well done. Also, it isn't that cool level of pixel art or pixelated stuff. So yeah, I think it would die on a lot of people. I also kind of loved, very weird little niche thing, the little teleportation animation they have when you're the
we kind of
people.
Disappear and there's just this electrical
there's something very retro about that whole animation bit, and I kind of just liked it. Made me smile when I saw it, just nostalgia wise, I'm guessing.
No, that was very cool.
Anything else visually?
I feel like there should be more, right?
Yes, but it's hard.
It is hard. It's just, this is what point and click games kind of used to look like.
Yeah, very much so. And this is why this isn't a well-known point-and-click game like Monkey Island. Because Monkey Island, bright colors, palette, comedy, Great time.
Oh,
Go
yeah.
play Monkey Island, The Secret of Monkey Island, the old games. They're fantastic.
It holds up. It holds up.
Oh yeah, they're fantastic. This is why this was kind of a niche following. It is in a lot of people's 100 list, but it's also in a lot of people's most hated list. It's
I can see both
polarizing,
reasons.
I guess.
I can totally
its own
see
way.
both reasons. I just want to say this could probably be one of those games that maybe you should only play if you have an interest in the history of
definitely.
gaming, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I wouldn't say it's something you have to experience, but if you're interested in the history of gaming, this could be a very neat experience.
And just the mind and psychology and all the other things of
Oh yeah. No,
he does do research, so there's a lot here that probably is based on fact and science and medical journals and stuff like that.
There is value to be had.
Yeah, there really
in this
is.
game.
There
it
is.
might not just be the fun.
Yes, it's true.
Enjoying the game type of value.
Could you say you had fun playing this? Like fun. This video game was fun. No, exactly. It would be weird if you said yes, by all accounts.
Yes. Oh,
if
I
you
had
said,
fun.
Oh, I had a great time in a pyramid of the scariest color that my character wanted, or I had a great time killing my army mates that didn't live. It's one of those weird ones. It's very strange to define it as a game, to be honest with you. You know,
it is. It could just
right?
Maybe this could just be categorized as a game because it's a digital interactive
it's digital media.
experience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it's interactive. Well, okay, it does fit the bill of a point and click game.
Yes, you do point and you do click. That is very true. So yeah, it hits that.
But your games are meant to be enjoyed.
Yeah, I can't. This is one of those. Again, I get the nicheness. It's enjoyable with the subject matter, like you're reading a good book and you're kind of engrossed in what's going on in the plot and the story.
Or watching a horror movie.
Yes, exactly.
Dave,
it's
do
that
you
same
enjoy
feeling.
watching a horror movie?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yes, I love a good horror movie. Where
a lot
more
of people
psychological than blood.
I do as well. A lot of people don't enjoy horror movies, and a lot of people argue you can't enjoy horror movies.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I can understand the argument. Yeah, sure.
I guess that's
perpetually scared.
It's close to what the argument is for this game. It can't be enjoyed.
Yes, agreed. Only enjoyed by a certain very strange few people out there.
I guess so. I don't want to meet them.
Okay, visually there's that. Now, Audio Man,
not much. Audio wise, there's one big part that I'm guessing was the favorite part for most people.
Go on, hit me with it.
You have the same thing in your notes. It's the voice acting.
Yeah, see, I got the voice acting down.
Yep.
Some of it was good. Some of it I hated.
Oh, what did you hate?
Okay, this is one of the arguments we have a lot on this channel in regards to voice acting compared to like direction and compared to script writing.
Yeah.
I think some of the script was horrible. So when it was... this is going to sound... Ellen's voice acting I hated because... it uses the old term. She always used baby, or like you're not going to get this woman down. It is old 90s vernacular, and I get that.
Yes, and she's also being written as a black woman.
Yes, a black lady in that time. I also found it to be really slow. Like, granted,
yes,
I did Nimdok, and he's German and he's speaking like a English with a German accent, and I get it. But it was such a slow... They were such slow conversations. It was like, yes, I know who you are talking about. I was like, come on.
Move along, Doctor.
Yeah, I get it. We're spoiled with today's voice acting. If you look at things like Last of Us, Final Fantasy 16 or whatever the voice actors are just upping their game on every front. And
the pacing for dialogue has been improved.
Yes,
quite
exactly.
a lot. Exactly. It might just have adjusted to society's shortening attention span.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I can see that. I agree to that. But knowing these games and playing these games and now playing this game.
Yes.
And you can't entirely fast forward it because what they're saying is so integral to the story or what you have to do next. So you can't, there's no skipping. You can skip, but they'll tell you something about a wrench or a mirror or a piece of something that you really do need to know to do your puzzles or fix it later on. I just found it so slow. And I was like, come on, this puzzle's taking me 20 minutes and 10 minutes of it is just the talking. But that's just me being... some of the voice acting was good. Some of it I think was written poorly.
I get it.
And I was reading the other day, direction is also a lot of things that voice actors don't get, especially in the past. They get given a script, no history to the person, and then say it. Say
it in the mic. Do it. I'll pay you.
Yeah. That's exactly it, and they're told to do it very quickly because cut-off times and stuff like that. And I'm told, I was reading an article just the other day, that back in the day, and even like just pre-2000s, a lot of time you'd never get a history for the character. Yeah. You'd get like a simple character description, black female, scared of yellow, had sexual assault, and that's somehow as a voice actor you're supposed to, that's all I need. I can easily depict that in yeah, and I'm guessing this also has that same problem. I think there was
that's how you get performances like what you experienced from Ellen, right?
Yes.
That's probably how that happened because she had zero direction.
No,
and the writing's not that great. No. I mean, at one point she called, I think it was Anubis, a doidy rat.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you doidy rat. Yeah, which. It's not great. It's not great. That's my thing about a lot of it. It wasn't like I tried to get you try to switch on your 1995 brain and go, oh, this is what we said. This is what we sounded like back then, and then you think, nope.
No, it really wasn't. But I mean, also, how much of 1995 video game media had as much voice acting as this game?
That's true.
Did?
That I'll give you. It's
right?
True.
I think this game is fully voice acted. Fully voice acted.
It is. That's true. Which is actually one hell of an achievement back then.
Yes, really not even games nowadays could manage that.
No, exactly true. Very true. I did look into the voice actors. They're not voice actors. Not one of them. They've done no voices in anything else ever. Nope. They were obviously just part of the production team or something like that, or part of the marketing team.
Or they got the people from the bar across the road.
Yeah, right? They literally no one. But the thing is, the music... Sorry,
what?
Mr.
No, don't
Man.
move on from voice acting. There's one very important point.
Go on. Sorry, voice acting. Hit me with
There's one very important point.
Go on.
Do you know who did the voice acting for Am?
I do.
Yes, you do.
Of course I do. It's everyone's favourite asshole. Sorry.
I was expecting you to say everyone's favourite sci-fi writer.
Oh, sorry, that would have been better. It's true. Everyone's favourite, notoriously well known for his sci-fi books and everything
the sci-fi writer himself.
Yes, Harlan. I keep forgetting his name. I know his first name's Harlan.
Harlan Ellison.
The
writer for the short story and this game. Jeez.
Oh, also, the picture on the front cover of the game is his face.
Yes.
So you know, you can almost feel his ego. I'll do Am. I'll be on the front cover of the book.
Okay,
you know,
Mr. Ellison.
Yeah,
I know you're a sci-fi writer, but please, you could just stick to. Oh, don't worry. I'll be on the box art as well because I wrote this.
And of all the characters, I'll be the omnipotently powerful AI that's destroyed. You know, granted, I might be making this up. If you read about it, it doesn't sound like I am, but he does seem like I said, he likes the smell of his own farts.
Yes, but Mr. Ellison, Am's the bad guy. He's a douchebag.
Yeah, right. He really is. He really is.
And
yeah, can you think of anyone else better to do that role?
I guess not, Mr. Ellison.
He doesn't... Again, it's not great voice acting from him. Did you like his voice acting?
I did.
Did you?
I did.
Wow, just because it came across like a dick. Sorry, ladies and gents. Like a bad guy or an obnoxious guy.
Maybe, or I just had my 1995 goggles screwed on too tightly.
Yeah. I've been there. Like I said, I'd say some of my review of this game is because of those goggles.
Yeah. But that's what were you gonna say about the music?
Like I said, the music. See, this is one probably interesting tidbit about the music here. The composer of this game was a gentleman named John Ottman, Most
For
people.
a moment, I was expecting you to say John Williams.
Yeah, could you imagine John Williams? I'd lose my mind. Granted, most people you hear composer's name, you're like, who the hell's that? Same with me. I'm sure you don't know that name, right?
No.
There's lots of composers out there. But he is actually the composer for the almost the majority of X-Men movies. The Origins, the X-Men 1, 2. He did the Superman Returns soundtrack, the old Superman movies in the day. He also did Usual Suspects and Gothica, the Halle Berry movie. So he's actually turned into a relatively prolific Hollywood composer.
Wow.
Which is kind of cool.
That is.
The music in this was good. It was it matched the scenes and stuff like that.
That's it. It fit the tone quite well.
It didn't stand out that well, but it was the era where it was hard to make good music and compress it and all the other
And you
things.
also had you still had technical limitations.
You really did, yeah.
I'm guessing a lot of the processing power went into the full voice acting.
Yes,
everything's voice acting.
That's exactly,
all the time. And then there still needed to be some music, and it all sounded quite synthesized, like it was played on a synthesizer. But that could just have been more technical limitations. That
and the compression and stuff. Yeah,
that played quite well into the entire supercomputer.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Everything is in a machine atmosphere.
Okay. So that was the interesting tip about audio I had. Should we jump into gameplay?
We're going through these quite quick, it feels like. Or aren't we?
I know, we're 45 minutes in. Anything else audio you want to add, out of curiosity?
No, that's audio. Let's do gameplay.
And this is, ladies and gents, where it gets very hard to review gameplay of a point-and-click adventure. Because the gameplay, as you may have guessed, is point and then click.
Whoa!
That said, I was slightly...
Point and click?
I know, right? 2 actions almost at once. Oof. Gamers back in the day, we were high level.
Too much for my 1995 brain. Slow down.
I must admit, the one thing about this game that made me slightly worried was... ladies and gents, if you've ever played any of the old point-and-click adventure games, not only did you point-and-click, you also had 9 buttons, be it 9, 8 buttons spent. And this game, the buttons were walk, look, take, use, talk, give, and push. You'd touch these buttons to manipulate things in your environment. If you wanted to push the door, you said push and then selected the door. If you wanted to talk, you pressed talk and selected the person in the room with you. And the other one button in this game that had me very worried...
I know it's yes.
...was swallow.
Swallow.
I have never, in any of these games, had a button called swallow, and I have never, ever wanted to not use it in any gameplay form ever. Just the word swallow was so ominous to me, like, especially in the context of some of these stories. Yes. I was like, damn, like, what in the gameplay made them have to add this button
dedicated for swallowing?
Right? I was like, whoa. Like,
I mean, it kind of makes sense in all the stories I've played.
Yeah.
I swallowed in all of them.
Oh, I didn't.
Really?
Oh, Nimdok didn't have to swallow a thing. He could. I'm sure
he could. He had a button for it.
Yes, and he could kill himself. In a lot of these narratives, you could kill yourself. It didn't do anything. You started again, but you did have the option of killing yourself.
Am won't allow you to kill yourself.
Yes,
I played Gorrister. I walked around in what felt like a subterranean lair.
Yeah,
I found some jelly and I swallowed, and I immediately, quote unquote, died.
One of the options for me as Nimrok was to stab myself with a scalpel, and it did it. It in these games they often come out with say, "I've got no use for that," or "cannot do that," or "That's too heavy." I was like, curiosity was use scalpel, just use scalpel, and he cut his own throat. This is such a dark game.
Dude.
At points, or at one point with one of the operations, I had to take. Sorry, you can't even say the sentence without thinking, holy crap. I had to take the lower part of the spinal cord out of a child. Oh. And I didn't want to, so I stabbed the anesthesiologist.
Oh.
And that wasn't also like a quick thing. It was animated. It was like, whoa, okay, calm down. Oh, and then I got shot by the guards and stuff like that.
Shit.
This game is dark.
Okay, 13-year-olds should not be playing this.
Really shouldn't. Like,
wow.
I was shocked. But gameplay-wise, It's your normal point and click. It is just a case of kind of little puzzles you go through, narrative choices you do, and you try, and in this game, particularly try to take the choice where you could kind of save your conscience, do the good thing surrounded by scenarios of bad things, is kind of the whole point of this. But super hard to do.
It really is. I got stuck multiple times.
Oh,
I got
don't
stuck
even
a
get me
lot.
started.
I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, and this is one of those games where that's a thing. That's a gameplay thing. You're supposed to get stuck and then reload your save and choose the different option or combine the different things. Because once you've done those options, there is no rewind. There's no other branch of like something you can do. You're just stuck. You can do nothing about it.
Much like Myst, the game where you go into books into different worlds.
That's right.
You can soft lock your game.
Really can. And I did this so many times. It got frustrating. With the amount of times.
No, it definitely is frustrating. What I also find quite odd is the solutions for some of these puzzles, much like Monkey Island, they're so almost unnecessarily convoluted. Why? Why is it so convoluted?
Like, okay, I guess you'd call this spoilers, but in the
spoilers for this 30-year-old game.
As I was playing Nimdok, he finds a mirror, and you're supposed to use the mirror on yourself so that you can have an epiphany that you're in cahoots with the lost tribe. Because somehow you're supposed to know this mirror actually shows your inner self. It was such the most random thing that you... Like I said, this is one of those games, if you look at reviews online, this is one of those games you open game FAQs or whatever exists now in regards to guides. Because the logic patterns just don't really work.
Yeah,
what you're supposed to do.
It doesn't.
It's so, like you said, so hard to lock yourself out. I lost the eyes in regards to being frisked by a guard, and I can't go back, and I could do nothing. You had to go load. Luckily, I had my old school mind switched on. I saved almost every occasion I could when I found something.
Nice, you've got that muscle memory.
Yeah, because apart from that, this game would be is so frustrating because.
It entirely is. Even in Ellen's one, there's a part where you get into a room with the Sphinx and it growls at you and it's going to eat you. And Ellen won't go in because she's utterly terrified.
Yes, yeah.
Right? And she can see a blindfold in another room, but she can't pick it up because it's yellow.
Yeah, right? And
you know what you have to do? Do you know what you have to do?
Change its color, potentially?
No. You just pick it up a second time and then she does it.
No way.
Yes, you just pick it up a second time and now for some reason she picks it up.
You're never going to work that out. Like
no,
I said,
and she ties it over her eyes. And now that she's blindfolded, now that she cannot see the Sphinx, that room is completely safe.
Okay, I get it.
That makes zero sense.
That's a weird one.
It's still there. You walk around in this room, the Sphinx is still there.
Yeah, but she can't see yellow anymore. I did like that part of Ellen. Sometimes you'd go into a room and then the game would immediately take you out that room again because she's having a panic attack.
Yes.
Which was an interesting little addition to the narrative.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would have never picked that up. You know, your mind instantly thinks now, that's a puzzle, right? So how do I pick up the scarf or whatever is on the floor? So I got to change its color. Do I need to get a tool to pick it up? Do I need to have an epiphany? The idea, you'd have never worked that out. Your own, by all accounts. You'd be playing this game for days.
Speaking of, I think you actually can if you try and get all the endings.
Yes.
Because after you've kind of, quote unquote, won all 5 of Am's games, you can enter, I think the Chinese and Russian supercomputers that have merged with Am kind of take you to the back room.
Yes, pretty much. They kind of saved their own little consciousness as well, so they can help destroy Am, by all accounts.
Yes.
Yeah. And they take you into a back room, and again, you've got given decisions to do, by all accounts.
And if you... I'm sure we can get into the multiple endings in value for money, but with there being multiple endings, and you can very easily fail this game, or
easy.
Not get the win state, there's a lot that you can do.
Like... Yeah, there's almost everyone. Like I say, if you played this game and you got the good ending, you're on like some genius level, Mensa level mind. brain work you've got going there, because all the other endings do turn you into that blob. Doesn't matter if you try to, you just get
soft
turned
jelly
into
thing.
a ball of snot, basically. Even though you've gotten out of all the personal achievement and you've overcome your phobias and stuff like that, the end part also has such a hard level of what you're supposed to do next. You're probably going to turn into a ball of snot I kind of get it, because it's called I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. If you don't have that part in the game, then why is it called that?
Yeah.
But yeah, your end. That's right. The end, you get you get another branching thing. I can't remember what the endings were though. I know it was the whole end game was to try and switch off Am, right? Like
yes, it's switching off Am, exploding the caverns full of his circuitry.
Makes sense.
And then initiating the reforestation of Earth.
Oh, like terraforming? Was that like
yes, re-terraforming of Earth so that the lunar colony can kind of freeze themselves for 300 years.
Yeah, I was confused.
And then descend onto Earth again.
When it said lunar colony, do they actually mean on the moon?
Yes.
Okay. I was like, what? Are they called the lunar colony?
Of course it's on the moon.
Well, no.
Because Am can control the entirety of Earth. So if there were any other humans besides the 5 on Earth, they'd be dead. Where else are they going to go than the moon?
Nimdok said he was part of the tribe, and I was thinking, but they're on the moon. How are you part of that tribe if you're here on Earth and went with humanity to die?
I don't know. And I fear asking too many questions about a game like this could just lead to more questions.
Yeah, and I fear the list is listening too. So if we start questioning this, I'm feeling a little green blob-like right now. Like I'm feeling like
what's that green Digimon?
Right. Oh god, that horrible one that I kept getting.
Yes, the slug thing.
The little slug that throws its own turrets.
Please,
I'm sure I'm sure the chat knows what I'm talking about. I hate that thing. Yeah, I feel we're pushing our luck with the list at the moment.
All hell the list.
All hell the list. It's such like an indoctrination. I love the idea that our listeners will one day just all start saying all hell the list. But anyway,
yes,
just a weird imagination I've got going on. Apart from that, it's hard to kind of describe gameplay when it's just point and click and it's obscure puzzles. There's no racing, there's no shooting, there's no driving. I don't know. It is literally that. Like I said, I'd say this is more akin to a visual novel, because you get scenarios, you choose kind of your paths to do, and do little puzzles in its own right. So
that is very true. I think
I'd lean it more that way now.
I'm on the fence because this does feel like a classic point-and-click adventure game.
Well, it's one of the things, I can't define this as an adventure. Adventure to me is DuckTales and freaking gummy bears and like proper adventure. Killing
Monkey
the dragon,
Island.
Saving. Yeah, exactly. The idea of defining this as a point-and-click adventure, this is the darkest adventure anyone.
Jeez,
this is
it really is.
If who's the guy who did Berserk? If he
Miura.
Yeah,
Kento
if he
Miura.
made a point-and-click adventure game, this is his type of adventure, I'll give you. But
I get it. Although Berserk could also be. Anyway, we're getting off topic. Performance.
Okay, this is one of those things. I had a problem. Granted, saving all the time or save scumming is a pain in the ass, but that was the thing in the game. I had one problem where it broke the game. There was one part where you had to get a mirror from inside a big pool of mercury.
Yeah.
And I grabbed the mirror and did the next step, and I had it. And then I thought there was some sort of aspect to putting it back into the mercury. So I put the mirror back into the mercury because I thought it would work, and it didn't. So I went back to try to pick up the mirror again, and the game just plain did not see it existing anymore.
Oh.
I could not. It wouldn't find it. I looked, pushed, shoved, swallowed. Couldn't do it. It literally, as an object to operate and use, just disappeared from...
Wait, do you think the game bugged?
Yes, I do, because it was exactly the same action I did before. You switched off the light, the mirror, you saw, there's a mirror at the bottom. You grabbed it. Same parameters, I could no longer, because I put the mirror back in, not that it was hot or melting or any other change had happened, I could not pick up the mirror again, and thus that ruined... I had to go all the way back to the beginning again and redo the whole bit because it ruined the next part. I could not go any further.
Oh, man.
So I think this is a bug. I think it was It's a weird
It
thing
could be.
to
It
do
sounds like one.
To put the mirror back is a very strange thing to do by all accounts, but this is one of those obscure games where you think maybe that's genius. Maybe I've looked at it and now it's loaded up with my personality. Then I put it back in there and that loads up the golem, right? Maybe
Wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. But it didn't, and it just got me like a hard lock. I could not go any further.
Okay, that does sound like a bit of a bug, or just, I don't know. These old games that soft lock themselves are a pain.
They are. We're so spoilt now. I know we still get some soft locking on certain games and level locking and stuff. But this game is kind of a pain in the butt. I do. Sorry, another little thing. Just my nostalgia goggles come up. I did like when you loaded this game. Command prompt came up with DOS. Sorry, just nostalgia. I haven't seen that in years, and I was like,
hell yeah.
I was like,
I got that as well. When I ran the game, it ran in the Microsoft DOS window.
Yeah, I love, like I said, just the nostalgia. Sorry, just sharing. Just seeing that box again made me smile.
I don't know.
Performance-wise, what did you think?
I don't have anything for performance really, besides that it ran in MS-DOS.
Yeah. This is fundamentally run on a
it
calculator.
Works. It's not the best, but that's what it was 30 years ago.
That was peak gaming. PC gaming.
No,
I'm not surprised.
I don't have anything really.
No, it works fine. It's a simple game. It'd be remarkable if it didn't really work.
Do you think this was on a compact disc or on a floppy? This must have been a CD. This
was CD. I have a feeling this was CD because it released in a big box on PC. You know, the big boxes.
Yes.
Most of those were CDs.
Okay, you're right.
Back in the day, you did get floppy disk big boxes, and they just rattled inside. It was so dumb. But I do remember those that era. Sorry. Value for money, then. What do you think?
I don't think it's that great. I mean, you'd have 7 different endings, meaning there's.
That's a plus.
I don't know. It could go both ways because there's a load of endings that you can get.
Yeah.
Meaning you can play this game a couple of times and have a different ending each time. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times how I define value for money could be if you find value in this experience you're having. I've found very, very little value in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, even though it's close to 200 or 100 hours worth of game. It looks pretty, whatever. There was little value. In this, you can argue that there's tons of value because it explores concepts. It opens conversations, right?
Yeah.
It makes you think about things much, much differently. So for a lot of people, there's that type of value in a game like this. And for the majority of other people, there's no value in a game like this.
Yeah, it's one of those things, again, what we put away. As a game, to game and to play, very little value. There's not really. Like
so
if you're
so true.
Fun playing this game, then that's a bit strange. It's very niche. Like you said, the conversations it would potentially spark up and the human psychopathy and stuff like that in regards to what's there is interesting.
Yes.
But as a gaming archive, as going, I loved playing that game, there isn't anything there. It's interesting, but that's not really how anyone wants to describe their favorite game. I love Sonic because it was so interesting. No, it was fun. The music's a jam. Dr. Robotnik's I've got to. So I said the same thing. I thought the value for money is low. You can buy it on Steam for $3. Good old games for $6. $6, sorry. Strangely enough, if you own the big box PC version of this game, in the box and complete, it's like $100 to $150.
Really?
Because of its age and the retro market to some degree. Like I said, that collector's edition is like $300 if you manage to grab hold one of those. So value dollar-wise, if you got the old one, you may have something there. And it's very niche. Again, it's one of those things where you put that argument that gaming is an art form because this game makes you think and ponder and think about history and the backing and stuff like that. But I could have done the same reading the book, which it originally was a more fleshed out short story, was actually fully there and had greater descriptions and understandings in it. So the argument is did this need to become a game? I suppose would be the.
I guess that is a.
And it's not something you go, I've got a couple hours at the end of the night. The kids are asleep. let me play I Have No Mouth But I Must Scream.
Ah,
Granted,
yes, to relax.
It does slightly sound like that a degree of parenting sometimes. Like wanting to scream and then you can't because everyone's asleep. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I can't really say as gaming, having fun gaming and stuff, it doesn't really tick those boxes. So yeah, I had to score it low too.
Which is unfortunate.
Yes, it is unfortunate because it's very adult and touches on some interesting concepts, but just don't let your teenagers play it. This game is like...
No, this is not for teenagers.
No, it's so dark. It's so adult.
All right.
It's so bizarre. Sorry.
All right.
So what did we score this bad boy then?
I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. Extremely peculiar title from 1995 on PC. We took our scores and we had ourselves a nice little Cold War against China and Russia, as you do. So we built ourselves a master computer. It erased the entirety of the human existence, except for our scores, who eventually took over the master computer until there was only one left. And that was the letter-grade rating of D+.
I thought you were going to say the list. But yeah, go on, sorry.
The list! Yeah. All hell the list.
All hell the list. A D+. Great score for games. Again, I guess because we kind of like the subject matter, we like deep philosophical thinking, it could quite easily be an F. I guess for some people this could be an A, but yeah, there's just not there. It's interesting concepts. A D+ is actually quite generous by all accounts.
I would agree.
But it is what it is. A D+ game.
Yes.
Like I said, like everybody's golf. It's better than everybody's golf, which is a weird thing to say. But yeah,
but I mean,
fair enough score.
If the conversation is about gaming history,
yeah, agreed.
This could be up there with B or A.
Agreed, yeah. It's again one of those ones they say if you like point-and-click adventures, you've got to play it like Monkey Island because it's it made waves in some way or form.
Oh, for sure.
So yeah, D+, good, not bad score really for what it is.
No, really good score. Well, yes, thank you very much for listening to this week's episode of the Critical Arcade podcast. If you be so kind, you can leave us a review or a comment. Whatever strikes your fancy. You can hit us up on our social channels, either on YouTube, where it seems we're doing quite well the past couple of weeks, or Instagram, where we've not been doing well for years.
It's true enough. Can't argue that point.
You can catch us up on email. I'm nick@criticalarcade.com.
And I'm Dave at criticalarcade.com.
Besides for your email, Dave, where else can we follow you?
I will be out and about, but because of my time spent with Am, the supercomputer, he did share with me the technology to turn people into a gelatinous piece of goo that can have no effect on the world, talk and or scream, by all accounts.
A soft jelly thing.
Yeah, I will turn you into a soft jelly thing.
Thank you.
Just picture that. I am out and about. If you want that, very weird, but by all accounts, I can make that happen for you. Yeah, that's it. So don't follow me, by all accounts.
Let's not follow Dave. Yeah, let's not.
That's a weird cheer. Yeah.
Don't follow Dave. Rather support us on Patreon for exclusive content like Critical Cinema and our post show. Dave, how about you tell us what have we got lined up for next week?
Next week's game is, again, I have the same problem with what's defined as retro, but I guess this is a 2011. I don't know if that's defined as retro. Crisis 2.
I really don't think that's retro.
People would argue
I'd
nowadays.
eat my shoe if that's retro.
Yeah, I know. Which I've not played too. I played the original Crisis, the old computer melting monstrosity that it was. Supposedly this is quite computer melting as well, if you get the high definition.
Yes, I think it's less computer melting.
Yeah, and this is the one with the super suit, right? Where you can toss cars around.
Yeah, all of them is the one with the super suit. This is the one, it's not on an island, it's in the city.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'd completely forgotten that. Okay, so I actually look forward to playing this. I liked the old games. Look forward to playing this one because it's supposed to be quite a good jam. It's a complete contrast to the game we just played, so that would be fun too.
It couldn't be more different.
No, it really couldn't, by a long shot. But exciting stuff. If you like Crisis or Crisis 2, by all means, join in and see what we, the experts of, with no actual expertise, think of it.
What do you mean? We've almost done 100 episodes reviewing games. We are Critical Arcade, Nick and Dave.
We are super important to the industry, and you should all listen to it because what we say is just
100%. So tune in next week to listen to our very valid opinions once again.
Yeah, exactly. Cheers. That's how
we'll
leave
see you then. Cheers.